Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've just got a quick little video to share with you. I'm going to show you this tiered tray little fall gnome. He's no-sew. I've given you the pattern in the description below. So if you want how to make it, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right, Maxwell? Okay, for this one I'm using a paper tube that measures almost 4 inches and 1 3/4 inches in diameter. Now you could use a paper towel roll if you want to. Next, I'm taking a piece of scrapbook paper and I'm just going to draw a circle around the bottom of that tube. And then I'm going to cut this out about a 1/2 inch away from that circle. It does not have to be a perfect circle. You just want to make sure you have enough room because we are going to put little slits in it all the way around. And these are about maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch slits. You just want to get them all the way around here because we're going to seal up the bottom of our tube with this piece of paper. Okay, next you're going to start folding all your tabs inward up to that line that you drew. And then we're just going to take just a regular nut to glue into the bottom of this to give it a little bit of weight. I started to put 2 of them in here, but I only needed 1. And these are probably about a 1/2 inch nut, just anything with some weight. You could even use a rock. We're just going to glue around the bottom edge of our little tube and put it inside that little circle and then push those tabs up against it. You want to make sure that you get those tabs pretty flush. So put enough glue on there where they are pretty flat. And the easiest way to do that is to put the glue on the tube and then push the flaps upward. Next, we're just going to take a 1/4 inch strip of paper and we're going to glue this around the bottom of our tube. This will make sure that all those flaps stay flat. So spend some time on this and pull it as you do it because you want to make sure that it is pretty flat. This will keep any of the flaps from lifting once you get your fabric on so that it is pretty smooth. Next, to cover our tube, we're just going to take some regular felt and just roll it up until it meets in the middle and then just cut that up. And we're going to cut this to about 4 inches in length. I'm going to take a paper cutter and cut it so I do get a straight edge. And you don't have to use a paper cutter for this. Next, you're going to line your tube up right at the very bottom edge and you're going to roll it all the way around and glue it together. Now I am going to trim mine because I did want my seam to be flush in the back, so I am going to take some scissors and trim it just a little bit by hand. I just want those pieces to meet in the middle, not overlap. And then we're just going to glue that straight in there as well. Okay, next we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut little 1/2 inch slits all the way around, and this is how we're going to glue this inside of that tube. So just put a little bit of glue inside and start pushing that down until you have it completely glued in. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to cover all this up as well. Next, to cover the bottom of our container, we're just going to take a square and glue it right to the bottom. Then once we get that on there and it's dried, we're just going to trim all the way around so we have a nice finished look on the bottom. Next, to strengthen our tube, we're just going to fill it with polyfill. Now, if you're going to use a paper or towel roll or something like that, you definitely want to do this. This will just kind of strengthen it. And then we're just going to put a circle on the top, just like we did on the bottom. And then we're going to trim that out as well. So just go all the way around the top, glue that onto your felt, and then you can just cut that out after that's dried. And you're going to get it right up against the edge when you're cutting that out. And be sure and give me a like because it really does help my channel. And if you see the hype button, that helps me even more. Thank you so much. Next, for the hat, I'm giving you the pattern in the description below. Just download it and cut it out. And we're going to place this on the fold of your fabric. So you're going to fold your fabric over twice and you're going to put this right on the fold because you want one big hat once you cut this out. And then just cut it out with cotton fabric or any kind of fabric you want. I'm just using a cotton fabric that I got at Hobby Lobby. So with your fabric facing face up, we're going to run a bead of glue right down one side. And then we're going to fold this over on top of that with our other fabric to make our hat. Just go all the way to the very tip top of that and then glue that in. And then let that dry real good. While your hat is inside out, we're going to make a little 1/2 inch cuff. Just fold that right up like that. About a 1/2 inch is all you're going to need. And then we're just going to take our glue gun and glue this down. Just spend a minute making sure that you do get this pretty even all the way around. And then we're just going to take our glue gun and glue it in. And you don't need a lot of glue, just kind of spot glue it a little bit, just a little bit of glue. Don't make it ooze out. To turn this right side out, I'm just taking a pair of pliers, pinching the end and pulling it on through. Next for the beard, I'm taking some faux fur. I'm going to measure it at 1 3/4 of an inch by 1 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to cut behind the faux fur in a U shape from one side to the other. And you're just cutting the backing of the fur. You're not cutting straight through the fur. You're just cutting the backing of it. Take a comb and comb any excess fur off of this. Next, to attach our beard, we're going to come down about 3/4 of an inch, make a mark, and that's where you're going to glue that. Just make sure that it's in the front and that the seam is in the back, and just put a bead of glue straight across there. Put your beard on there, and then we're going to glue underneath the beard to hold it in place. Next, for the brim of the hat, we're just going to cut this circle out. Now, your first pattern didn't have this on this. I kind of was developing this as I was going, so your pattern will have both pieces on it now. And you're just going to pin it to some felt. We're just using some regular felt, and we're just going to cut this out. Now, if you don't get this completely perfect, the circle, don't worry about it. You're not even going to know it once you get it done. But just try to get it as straight as you can, and then I'll show you here in a minute how we're going to cut the center of it out. That makes it a little bit easier, and it's a little bit straighter. And you're just going to take your pins out, you're going to fold this in half, and then put your pin back in, and then you're going to cut this in a U shape. This makes it a little bit easier than trying to get into the center of the circle and cutting it out. Next, I'm going to take 2 pipe cleaners, I'm going to fold them in half, and then I'm going to glue them into the hat. So make sure that the curved part's at the top part of the hat, and then just glue that right into the back and let that dry. Okay, next we're going to add a little polyfill to the hat just to give it a little bit more fullness. You don't need too much, just enough to get a little bit full. Then pull it on down over the top part of your gnome, and you're going to pull the back down a little bit farther than the front. And then just take your glue gun, and then we're going to just spot glue it down into the back. And then go ahead and pull your brim over the top part of it all the way down. And it's going to come down and leave about maybe 1/4 of an inch overhang on the fabric. Next, we're just going to bend the top part of our hat over to one side. We're going to start gluing our brim to our hat. Just go right up underneath it, push it down. You're pushing it down right onto the fabric. So you're covering up that little 1/4 inch ledge. And you're going to do that all the way around. Just kind of keep going until you have it glued completely in. Glue it down and then just bend that down over the top part of that fabric. But leave the front nose area open because we haven't added our nose yet. Next, for the nose, we're going to attach a 15mm half bead right to the top part of the ledge of that hat, and then we're going to glue our hat right to that nose. Dress up our hat, we're just going to take a piece of burlap. We're going to cut 2 squares out of it. We're going to glue one to the front part of the hat, kind of at a diagonal, and then we're going to attach one to the side of the hat up at the top. And then we're going to decorate these up with some leaves here in a little bit. I'm just going to take a piece of brown jute, I'm going to wrap it around the hat, and I'm going to tie it into a knot on the side. And I'm not going to tie it in a bow, I'm just going to tie it in a knot and then cut the strings off a little bit shorter. To finish him off, I'm just adding a couple little leaves I got at Hobby Lobby right to the front part of his hat. One last embellishment, I got this little pumpkin at Michael's, and I'm just going to glue it right to the side part of his hat. And that was pretty much it. Look how cute he turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope it gave you some inspiration. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome. See you next time. Thanks for watching.